Here's how to remove and replace radiator in your 4th gen Maxima. Tools you'll need: 10mm socket and a ratchet for the brackets holding on top of the radiator, and for the OEM hose clamps for the radiator hoses. Now, I replace these with worm clamps whenever I can because these just suck. So you also need a pair of pliers if you're an automatic to remove the transcooler lines that go into the bottom, and a Phillips head screwdriver to remove the drain plug on the radiator itself. First thing you want to do is pull the cap off. You want to drain the radiator. Like I said, it's a Phillips head screw at the very bottom. It's a pain to show you up underneath the car, so drain plug is right here. It's a Phillips head screw. Be careful with it, as it is plastic. It will round out pretty easily. And this will be on the left side of the radiator, on the bottom, directly underneath the top hose. After you drain the radiator, next step is to pull the hoses off. You can either use a Phillips head screwdriver, and good luck with that, or a 10mm socket to pull these upper hose clamps off. Anyway, after you do those, just slide your hoses off. When you pull the bottom hose off, you will get coolant and water everywhere. A lot of it's coming from the hose, coming from the thermostat, just flows on out, and the remainder of it is, well, the remainder of the coolant left in the radiator. And not everything comes out when you use that drain plug. So next step, some people like to remove the fan shroud, or they like to leave it on and pull the radiator out at the same time. Personally, I prefer to pull the fans and the shroud and everything out beforehand. So to do that, you want to pull off the line going to the reservoir. Just kind of set that over to the side. There are 2 shrouds along the outside of the radiator that basically keep the fans from pulling air around it and make sure they pull air through the radiator. These are located on each side. Just grab them, and they should pull up about 1/4 of an inch and slide right off. You see the little locking tabs they have there, lock onto the radiator, or onto the fan shroud. Now next, I'll disconnect the connector here that provides power to both fans. Well, actually, just to the left side fan. Disconnect this one, and there's another one right there. This one also pulls apart, and the harness will be clipped in to the fan shroud, and just pull it out. Mine are all broken. So. Once that's disconnected, there are 2 10mm head bolts holding the front of the fan shroud on. They're right here and here. So go ahead and take those off. For this, I prefer a ratchet wrench just because it's quicker. So once those 2 are unbolted or taken out, just grab the fan shroud and motor assembly and lift it right out of the car. Now that that's gone, one thing left to remove the radiator are the 2 brackets. One right here and one right here. Let's go ahead and remove those. I like to flip them around and bolt them right back down so I don't lose them. Once those 2 are out, the entire radiator is free. Also, if you do have an automatic, down here, transcooler lines would connect to those with just some simple spring clamps. You just need some pliers. Take those off. And once those 2 top mounting brackets are out, your transcooler lines are off, hoses are off, radiator's drained. Just grab it, pull it right out. And one thing you don't want to forget, on the bottom of the radiator, there are 2 rubber bushings. Keep it from sliding around in low radiator support. You want to make sure you keep those. You can install the new radiator without them. It'll just flop around a lot. This is looking straight down. Here's a cross member, front motor mount, exhaust manifold right here. Looking straight down front of the radiator cap normally is. These are those rubber bushings, bottom of the radiator, and they slide in place right there. Now here are the pegs on the bottom of the radiator where those 2 bushings sit. So I'll just go ahead and pop those on right now. The installation is as easy as the removal build one was. Just make sure you got your rubber bushings in place. Take your slider down in there, lining up the bushings with those 2 holes. I'm done. Just like the radiator, another fan shroud goes right back in. Like it came out. Nice and easy. Slide it down in there. Now I'm going to go ahead and install those 2 bolts. Like I said, these are self-tapping. There are no threads in the radiator itself. These cut new threads in there. So it will be a little tough when you're doing it. Try to get them in kind of straight. They'll try to walk off on an angle on you. And don't over tighten them. You'll strip out the plastic on the radiator. So next thing we're going to do is put the brackets back on to hold this radiator in place. The bushings are all tore up like mine are. It'd be a good idea to go ahead and get new bushings or new brackets, whichever you can get. Bushings are like mine are. It's got a fair amount of movement left. So it'll move a lot more than that if the lower bushings are gone. So that's why you want to remember to put those back in. Then you want to go ahead and reconnect the wiring for the fan motors. Not something you want to forget. Put that up and put your little clips back in, assuming that they're still there. Mine are all broken. Put that back in. And these connectors just slide onto tabs that are supposed to be there. So, once those are back on, next step is reconnecting the radiator hoses. You can do the overflow right now. Slide it on, put your little clamp on there. You still have to reinstall the fan shroud side covers. If you forget which they are, it says right here, this one's got an L on it, left side. This one, R for right. You do have to remember that over here where the battery is, it's the left side of the car. Over here, timing cover, right side of the car. All automotive directions are as if you're sitting in the driver's seat. So just don't confuse them. They should be good. So sticking these down in here, and then you can see there are notches on the side of the fan shroud. These fit right on too. And once you're on the notches, you slide it down, and it locks this cover into place. There we go. That's in place. There it is. You want the letter specifying what side it's on the inside, so it sits in like this. Just slide it down on there. You can see it's got cutouts for the AC line over here and for wiring over there. Slide it down, and these notches right here, you can't really see that. There's a notch right here. There's 3 of them on each side. So I'm going to line this up with those. Again. Slide it down. First couple of times will be hard. I haven't done this in forever, but a lot of times the bottom one will be the one you don't get on there. There we go. Those are on. Next step is hooking the hoses back up. I'm putting these hoses back on. Again, I like to use worm clamps because, one, they don't twist up and bend like the stock ones do when I use my cordless, but also because, well, they just seem to hold better. Now, just stick it on there, stick it on, tighten them up. It's a 8mm or 5/16 socket if you're going to use a socket wrench or a ratchet, or a flat blade screwdriver. Try to use the size that best fits the hose you have. A lot of excess like this right in the engine bay just means you're going to cut the shit out of yourself, and those things do hurt. So, nice and tight, and go ahead and do the bottom. Now use your best judgment when tightening those up. If you tighten them up too much, you'll destroy that the hose neck on there, and then you need a new radiator because you can't really repair that. And then you are done removing and replacing the radiator in your 4th gen Maxima.